Hey guys, so welcome back to Within the Good Books. I'm just going to do another tag video quick. And the tag is the All About Reading tag, and I was tagged by Between Lines in Life. Before I get into the tag now, I'd actually like to talk about how I actually won't have my Jane Eyre review ready, and that's partially due to the fact that I'm going on a trip to Iceland tomorrow, and I was hoping to have it done prior, but it turns out due to my lack of, I guess, dedication to reading it, but also the length of the book, I wasn't able to finish it in time, and I don't think I would have put my best effort towards the review if I rushed to the finish. So I will make a review when I return, and I'll make sure to follow up with a short book so I don't fall behind schedule, and I can do, 2 books within a week, maybe Brave New World or something like that. Okay, so now the All About Reading tag. The first question is, what do you look for when you first pick up a book? And they give you ABC here, and the one that I always definitely look for is characters. If I can relate to them, the story is so much more influential and relatable to me that I enjoy the book much more than clever prose or I forget what the other option is. It's or a good plot. So what are my pet peeves in books? And this is gonna sound a little weird because of the genre of books I read, but I get often very discouraged when I have long prose with no dialogue. And that's definitely something where my mind tends to wander, and I have to reread a couple passages or pages or whatever because I wasn't fully concentrated on the novel itself. And I think that's my pet peeve, is when they stretch it out too far, especially when it's very descriptive. So I guess when I'll read Dickens or Tolkien, I could get in trouble there. So the next question is, if I could print a quote on my wall, what would it be? And I think the one that I'm going to choose is by Oscar Wilde, and actually in the picture of Dorian Gray. And it's, you will always be fond of me. I represent to you all the sins you never had the courage to commit. I don't know, just an interesting thought. The next question, was there ever a book adaptation that you liked better than reading the book itself? And I'm going to have to say no. The movie or the BBC miniseries is always better in my head than they tend to do. But I do appreciate some. So the next question is, if any of my favorite book was made into a new adaptation or its first adaptation, which one would I like it to be, and who would I like to play if I was playing it? I think I'm gonna have to go with Catcher in the Rye, and actually the reason for that is because J.D. Salinger put down some rules, and they're not actually allowed to make an adaptation of Catcher in the Rye, so I think that's kind of interesting in itself. So if there's any relevation that they could do that, I'd love to be a part of it, and obviously I'd love to be Holden Caulfield. So the next is a hype book that you really wouldn't recommend. I'm gonna have to go with, people are gonna like this, I'm gonna have to go with The Hunger Games. I really didn't think it was that special. I mean, there were some elements of the book that were interesting, and I did really enjoy the ending, but that is a pretty long series to go through. I didn't appreciate the second book or the third book, in exception to the ending, but I didn't enjoy the series too much, I don't think, and I guess I wouldn't pass it on to too many people. So next is a book that was highly influential in my life and thinking. This is tough. I think I might have to go with, I'm going to sound like a broken record, I guess, but a book that really influenced my thinking, as I said prior, was The Picture of Dorian Gray, and the different perspective you can be taking on things as opposed to the general perspective that everyone thinks of. So, nothing too interesting there, but that's my most honest answer. The next question is, are you a fan of rereading books, and if so, do you do it often? I haven't done it often, but I would say I'm a fan of rereading them. I've only reread a couple, but as I said before, I never really had the time to do it. And during this, journey with my list, I'll definitely be rereading about, 30 or 40 titles. So I'm hoping that it's not too much of a bore. And I guess actually, this is a good spot to add in a quote there by Oscar Wilde. And it's, if one cannot enjoy reading a book over and over again, there's no use in reading it at all. So, he's one of the best, so hopefully he's right, and maybe that should have been the one that I put up on my wall. The next question is, which book title could easily be the title of your life? And I found this question kind of odd, considering that I don't think that a title of a book really has that big of a bearing on what you learn within the book. For instance, The Old Man and the Sea, I've learned from that book, but also in life, an excessive amount of effort does not always reap an excessive amount of gain. But if I said that for the title of my book, I mean, I've never been to sea really, or out sea for long, and I'm definitely not an old man, so I'm not sure. I mean, some books like Jane Eyre, like I'm reading right now, or Pride and Prejudice, to not get yourself locked into a role, and if you would like to change it, a social norm or whatever, to push for that. So that's another one. I mean, but those are both not maybe the best titles for me. So I guess the one that I'm going to choose actually is A Game of Thrones by George R. Martin, because I seem to get the Jon Snow reference wherever I go. And anyway, so that's what I'm going to do for a little joke, I guess. So the last question is, which book should be required reading for everyone? And I'm going to have to go with a children's book for this one, actually, because I think that that's when reading should start, and it's probably a good bearing as to if it's readings for you or if it isn't. And if it isn't for you, then, I mean, I have nothing against that. So the book I'm going to choose actually is, funny enough, it's going to be Harry Potter, and that book was kind of the only book that I read when I was younger, and I think that that's kind of a gateway book into other things. So do I think it's the best piece of literary fiction? No, I don't, but I definitely think that it's enjoyable and it's accessible and it's fun to get into the story. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remember to subscribe to me on Twitter, or follow me on Instagram and stuff, and I just recently opened those up. So also Goodreads is a good spot to see where I'm at with books. Anyways, thanks for having me again.